You've seen the smile, that you've witnessed the flawless composure, the unwavering poise under unimaginable pressure. The Princess of Wales is the image of modern royal perfection. But what happens when the cameras stop rolling? When the palace doors close and the world is shut out? Who is Catherine, really? And why are whispers from those who serve her growing louder, painting a picture that is profoundly different from the serene icon we know? This is the story the institution never wanted told. Before we begin, if you're fascinated by the secrets behind the crown, make sure you are subscribed to Royal Report 24/7. Hit that like button and share this with someone who believes there's always more to the story. Because what we're about to reveal changes everything. For years, the narrative was airtight. Catherine Middleton, the commoner who became a future queen, was the royal family's greatest triumph. Gracious, resilient, meticulously prepared. She was the steady anchor, the rock William needed, the mother who brought warmth to a sometimes cold dynasty. Her public image is a masterpiece of careful curation. But according to several former staff members and palace insiders who have spoken, on condition of anonymity, the private reality is a study in intense pressure, razor-sharp discipline, and a relentless drive for perfection that leaves little room for error. Our story begins not in a grand palace drawing room, but in the hushed, carpeted corridors of Kensington Palace. Insiders describe an atmosphere of extreme precision. One former aide recounted, "Everything is measured. A meeting isn't just a meeting, it's a rehearsal. A walkabout isn't spontaneous. It's a choreographed performance where every potential question, every possible scenario has been drilled." This level of preparation, while professionally admirable, reportedly creates an environment of high tension. The source continued, "There is no room for winging it. None. If you are presenting her with a briefing, it must be exhaustive. If you are coordinating an event, every minute detail must be accounted for. The expectation is not just excellence, but flawlessness." But here is where the story deepens, and where the reported tensions within the royal ecosystem begin to surface. This impeccable, self-contained unit of William and Catherine, the so-called Cambridge Fortress, was not formed in a vacuum. It was, according to many observers, a direct reaction to the chaos that surrounded them. The drama with Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, provided both a cautionary tale and a point of extreme friction. Insiders claim that the departure of the Sussexes and their subsequent public accusations of a cold, unsupportive institution placed Catherine squarely in the crosshairs of a silent, internal blame game that a particularly revealing claim, from a source close to the former communications teams, involves the infamous bridesmaid dress fitting incident. The public saw a story about a child in tears, but behind the scenes, insiders suggest the fallout was about protocol and hierarchy. The claim is that Catherine, as the future queen consort, expected a certain deference to established plans and timelines. Meghan's reported approach was seen as undermining that authority. It was less about a dress, and more about a fundamental challenge to the unspoken chain of command. Catherine's reported reaction, a firm, cold insistence on doing things the right way, wasn't petulance from this viewpoint. It was the defensive action of someone protecting the system that protects her. And this brings us to the current monarch, King Charles III. His relationship with his daughter-in-law is often portrayed as one of mutual respect and shared interests, particularly in art and conservation. But according to royal biographers piecing together insider accounts, there is a more complex dynamic at play. Charles, they say, admires Catherine's dedication and her seamless integration into the firm. He sees in her the ultimate professional, the asset he always needed. However, some whispers suggest a slight distance, a feeling that the Cambridge Fortress is, at times, too self-contained, too independent. Charles, a man who has endured his own lifelong struggle for identity within the monarchy, may reportedly view Catherine's perfect facade with a mixture of admiration and subtle concern, wondering, perhaps, at the personal cost of such flawless armor. The work wasn't done. There were binders of briefings waiting. The source said, she looked at the pile, and for just a second, the mask slipped. There was no drama, no sigh, just a quiet, profound exhaustion in her eyes. And then it was gone. She straightened her spine, picked up the first folder, and began to read. The princess was back. This anecdote, whether precisely true or not, speaks to a powerful truth. The real Catherine may be the woman in that fleeting moment, deeply tired, bearing a burden few can comprehend. And the real Catherine is also the woman who immediately suppresses it in service of the role.so, who is Princess Kate really like behind closed doors. Based on the mosaic of reports from those who claim to have been there, she is a paradox. She is both the product of immense pressure and the architect of her own impeccable control. She is a devoted mother who reportedly guards her children's privacy with a ferocity born from her own media torment. Yet within the palace walls, she is said to be a demanding boss who accepts nothing less than perfection. She is the future queen who mastered the system by becoming its most disciplined student, and in doing so, may have become its most formidable guardian. Her story is the ultimate royal transformation, but not the fairy tale version we were sold. It is a story of will, of steel, of the gradual shedding of a relatable young woman to build, piece by polished piece, a living icon. The warmth she shows in public with George, Charlotte, and Louis is reported to be genuine and profound, her sacred space. But outside that sanctuary, the engine of the monarchy must run, and Catherine, according to these whispers, is its meticulous, unsentimental chief engineer. The question that now hangs in the air, as King Charles reshapes the monarchy and Prince William prepares for his own destiny, is what this relentless discipline will create. Will the real Catherine, the woman of such intense control, be the strength that secures the throne's future? Or does such perfection, maintained at such a reported personal cost, contain the seeds of its own isolation? The palace, of course, will never comment. The official line will always be one of dignity and dutiful service. But the whispers from behind those closed doors suggest a reality far more human and far more compelling than any official portrait could ever capture. The making of a queen is never a gentle process. It is a forging, and the woman emerging from that fire, as described by those who have stood closest to the heat, is stronger, sharper, and more complex than anyone could have imagined. If this glimpse behind the curtain has captivated you, then you understand why we do this. The Crown's greatest stories are the ones it never tells. Make sure you don't miss the next revelation. Subscribe to Royal Report 24/7. Hit like if this story pulled you in, and share it with anyone who knows that in the world of royalty, truth is always stranger and more dramatic than fiction. The doors are closing again, but we'll be here, listening for the whispers. Until next time,